Good evening. Welcome to our July 15, 2024 meeting of the City of Tuscaloosa Planning and Zoning Commission. This meeting allows for alternative participation in order to accommodate all citizens. Any written comments were sent to staff were forwarded to the commission directly. At this point in time, I'd like to introduce our staff. Jimbo Woodson, Deputy Attorney, Mike Gardner, City Engineer, Zach Pons, Director of Planning, Lily McIntyre, Special Operations Coordinator, and Emily Hayes, Associate Director of Planning. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Planning Commission members. There are 9 members of the Planning Commission, all whom were appointed by the mayor for staggered terms, with the exception of the City Council representative, who was appointed by the City Council. I ask that the commission members introduce themselves and state their occupations, starting on my right.
I'm Councilwoman Raven Howard, District 2.
Stephen Rumsey, business owner.
Dina Prince, attorney.
John Smith, Deputy Director of Environmental Service.
Eddie Pugh, retired.
I'm Tim Harrison, General Contractor. Petition sign up. There are sign-up sheets outside for public comment. 4 speakers are allowed to speak in favor of a petition, and 4 speakers are allowed to speak in opposition of a petition. All speakers will have a maximum of 5 minutes unless the commission votes to allow a longer time. Procedures. The commission will take up all items in the order of our final agenda. The commission will initially receive a presentation from the staff as to the details of the agenda item. Additionally, we may hear certain matters involving the same property, such as an annexation, a zoning matter concurrently, although we will take separate votes on each independent item. After the staff presentation, I will call upon the petitioner to present their case. The petitioner will have a maximum of 10 minutes unless the commission allows them additional time. At the conclusion of the petitioner's remarks, I will then call on another party in order to sign up or otherwise who desires to support the petition, and thereafter will call in order of the sign-up or otherwise those who oppose the petition. When it is your turn for comment, please introduce yourself, state your name and address to the commission to provide your remarks. Any written comments have been included in the record. After receiving remarks from those who oppose the petition, the petitioner will have the opportunity to respond to those objections. Any rebuttal will be limited to 2 minutes unless the commission votes to allow for a longer time. If the petitioner presents new information in response to the objections, we will allow those who oppose the opportunity to respond to the new information only. Any response will be limited to 2 minutes unless the commission votes to allow a longer time. During the course of this presentation, you may be interrupted by any member of the commission for clarification or additional information. Such interruptions will not reduce your time that is allowed. Once the commission members are satisfied that they have received all relevant information, I will then close for further discussion by the public, and at which time the commission members will discuss the matters and then vote. After the vote, you're free to leave. Video recording. These proceedings are video recorded and broadcast live. All in-person comments should be made at the podium into the microphone. Comments made by phone or virtually are video recorded through the conference application. Please first state your name and address for the record. Jurisdiction. In all matters pertaining to subdivision regulation, approval of subdivisions within the city and its planning jurisdiction, and as to amendments, planned unit developments, and are located outside the city limits, the commission serves as the final authority. As to matters pertaining to historic buffer zone construction, our decision is subject to appeal to the city council. As to all remaining agenda items, including original zonings, rezonings, planned unit developments within the city, and street vacation, this commission serves as a recommending body to the city council. In that regard, our decisions are in the form of a recommendation to be presented to the city council, and the city council will make the final decision on those matters. Subdivision approvals requires the affirmative vote of 6 members of the Planning Commission. All matters or recommendations to the council require a majority vote for an affirmative recommendation. Conflicts of interest. At this time, do any members of the commission have any conflicts of interest as to any agenda matters? If so, please state that for the record. Confirmation notice. I would ask that the staff to confirm on the record that proper notice has been given to all parties in interest as required by law as to all matters before the commission tonight?
It has.
Thank you very much. So there are no changes to the agenda. With that, we will begin the approval of the minutes. As the Planning and Zoning Commission has received the synopsis for the June 24th meeting, I move that we dispense with the reading of the minutes of the same unless there are any deletions, additions, or corrections. With that, I'll take a voice vote. Aye.
Oh,
Thank you. All right, we will begin.
Good evening, Commission. We have one item on our consent agenda, that is S 5824, the resurvey of lots 15, 16, and Block 75 of TCI&L Co-subdivision. We did not receive any public comments, and there are no variances requested.
Okay. Commission, before us, we have S-5824, resurvey of lots 15, 16, and Block 75. I ask that we vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Okay. And then we do have 4 items requesting to continue this evening. This was carried over from last month. We have received over 80 public comments in opposition to this development, and I will let you call them up.
All right. At this time, we'll ask the petitioner to come forward for the Dawkins subdivision.
Good evening. Tommy Cox, D.R. Horton.
Give me your name again, please.
Tommy Cox.
Tommy Cox.
2188 Parkway Lake Drive, Hoover, Alabama, 35244. I wrote it down. So I'm here today to request approval to table our case to the August 19th hearing. We have requested to table the June 17th meeting, which was due to feedback we received 1 to 2 business days prior to the June 17th meeting. And we and the commission both felt it was necessary to meet with the Waterford residents to hear concerns. Tabling this case was approved, however, with changes we would need for today's meeting and the submittal that was due on June 14th. We didn't have time to make the changes to our layout, so we're requesting that we have a continuance to next month.
Ms. Cox, when we were last here last month, we had asked that y'all, the developer, reach out to the homeowners association and meet with them regarding their concerns to see if you could somewhat alleviate these concerns. Did that occur?
We did, yeah, we
You
met with
did?
them. We met with them, yes.
Okay. And did anything come out of this meeting from, I guess what I'm going to ask you is what changes can we expect in the next meeting?
Well, they had several concerns, and we were not prepared at that particular meeting with the HOA to make the changes they asked us to make. We were there to listen, to hopefully openly discuss it and try to come up with some reasonable agreements between us. They were concerned about density with the 301 lots, and we have agreed, but we didn't have an exact number that we were going to reduce our density to at the time. They were concerned about the connecting roads from our subdivision into their subdivision, and we have told them that we are willing, as long as the city allows it, to possibly gate those or even remove some of the connector roads. That was just a subdivision requirement or that was made by the city to us to connect to them. We did try to discuss, and there's just a lot of details that are not available to both them and us as far as what needs to be done to repair their dam on the lake, which we are willing to contribute to the cost to repair that dam, and then have a lake management agreement put into place. We did get one drafted by our attorney, but at the time of the meeting that we met with them on July 3rd, we didn't have that prepared yet. traffic concerns. They have a lot of traffic concerns, and, you know, we did a traffic study, and we agreed that we would go ahead and do what the traffic study warranted, what the city of Tuscaloosa was gonna require, if AlDOT got involved, what they would require, and any governing recommendations for traffic, you know, we're open to do that.
You haven't been able, though, to complete those and submit them yet, is that what you're saying? To either to the HOA or to the city?
As far as a new layout is?
Right.
Not yet, no.
And that's why you need the continuance?
We're working on that, yeah. So when we were here last, the due date for the July meeting was actually June 14th, and our meeting was June 17th. So we missed the deadline to make any changes to our layout. So the next deadline now is July 19th for the August meeting. And we're requesting to table it so we can make those changes and get them submitted.
So there was a couple of, one item that was not, I didn't hear you address was the annexation. Did you discuss annexation, and have you discussed with the city schools as to increasing the density in the school system?
We have talked to the city schools. I believe I have a copy of the letter that he said he had sent in to staff. I don't have confirmation from staff they received it, but they are aware that we have increased the density. They have said that they were going to agree to add a bus line, and they specified which schools each of the grades would go to.
May I ask your rationale in annexing into the city when the majority of those neighborhoods are in the county, in that area?
The county does not have the zoning that we would need for the size lots we want to put in there.
All right. Any additional questions from the commission?
I have one, and I'm sorry that I didn't turn my phone off. Who did your traffic study?
Skipper Consulting.
Say that one more time, sweetie.
Skipper Consulting.
And was a drainage study required for this development?
Yeah, they've submitted a preliminary drainage study in compliance with our subdivision regulations.
They did do a drainage study.
Yes.
And will the dam situation affect that at all? I'm not sure, I don't know exactly where the dam is on the lake they're talking about, but if it's in disrepair, will that have any kind of adverse effect on the drainage of the area?
It certainly could. The integrity of the dam was not a part of the drainage study that was submitted.
Yes, I'm with D.R. Horton. I'm their entitlements manager. Entitlements manager.
Mr. Chairman, the only comment I guess I've got is, we extended it last time.
Right.
And we did that because the neighbors are unhappy.
Right.
They need to work some things out or try to see if they can come to some agreement. It seems reasonable to offer them the same opportunity, but I do hate to keep dragging the neighbors up here every other month, and they get off work early and they bring in the kids and all this, and then they come up here and they find out it's been withdrawn, and that's kind of an old trick of development, to wear them out. I'm not saying you're doing that. I'm saying it's an old trick of development. I mean, we can do it, but next time we got to vote.
Well, from our standpoint, I think we talked about this earlier, our regulations require that they can ask for continuance twice. After that, they have to resubmit. So they're within their rights to ask for that. We can deny it as a commission and go on in here tonight if you'd like to, but historically, we've granted that opportunity to, I don't think we've ever really pushed them.
Well, if it's very complicated, they might need some time. It sounds like a
Yeah.
complicated case.
I think so, yes.
I want to ask one more question, and I guess just to clarify what Chairman Harrison asked about why you're wanting to annex it into the city. And I just can't remember from last month, my bad. But I seem to recall that you can't get the density that you want if it stays in the county. Is that correct?
At the time when we first submitted, and this is kind of me explaining what we were going to submit coming next month if this was approved today, there's no townhome zoning in the county for one thing, and we were going to add townhomes to our layout, but to reduce the density, now we were going to remove the townhomes and just, we were still gonna have some smaller lots and some smaller product, which was gonna still need the smaller zoning, which the city provides.
So even if you remove the townhomes, you still need city to be annexed to fall under the
Yes.
PUD to give you some extra.
We do.
Okay.
You don't know what the number between what the city allows and what the county allows as far as number of homes, do you? I see your engineers back there, I think. I didn't know if
Yeah,
you
I might need him to answer your question.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
What does would the county allow, how many units would the county allow to be built compared to what the city allows?
Give me your name and address of the record, please.
Tom Sims, Longleaf Engineering, 1927 7th Street, Tuscaloosa. The county specifically doesn't have a density requirement nor a lot size requirement for their zoning. They just have setback requirements that you have to prescribe to. And those setback requirements have historically been, I guess they were made mostly for the county because they were mostly septic lots. And so there are 35-foot front, 30 rear, and 10-foot sides, I believe.
Tom, I think what he meant was if you're annexed in, you come in as R1, how many lots would be available in that R1?
Well, I guess that's the point I was making is really the same number of lots if you want to maintain those setbacks. They don't have a differentiation there, but it's the products they want to put in. Those setbacks really wouldn't work for what they want to do.
I'm not sure if I'm talking to an engineer or an attorney because I don't understand anything you just said.
Okay.
So basically it's a setback. The difference is the setback.
The building setback lines
Building
is,
setback.
is the only rule they have in their subdivisions,
Which will allow you,
regulations requiring density or lot size or anything like
the
that.
city setbacks will allow you to build more, right?
Yes, sir, yes. sir.
Reduce setback.
And a different kind of
In a
product.
different,
A
different kind of
different,
product.
smaller product with different
So,
setbacks, yes, sir.
Tom, I guess, and again, I hate to keep you up asking questions on this. You stated that there wouldn't be any change in density. There would be change in density because you'd have less area to build because the county regulations are less restrictive.
Yeah,
correct?
to build what they want to build, they would have to modify. I was just saying technically, if they wanted to have that same lot configuration in the county, they could as long as they put in those setbacks. But they have like a 50-foot lot width that if you use 10-foot side setbacks, all of a sudden you only have 30-foot of buildable area, and that doesn't really work for them. That's all I was getting at. But if they modified a product to fit on that 30-foot wide footprint, yes, sir, they could just build the same number of lots.
All right. Any further questions? Mr. Sims?
No questions, but I do have a comment. Last month, when this was requested to be continued, like tonight, we had a large contingency of residents that live in the Waterford. So I hope that once you make the changes or upgrades or whatever you plan to do, that you can continue to communicate with the homeowners association and residents there because their input and their concerns are very much so important to me.
Sure, and I'll apologize once again for the late notice on the continuance. We did reach out to the HOA and kind of notified them that we would be continuing tonight. I don't blame them for showing up, but we did want to try to save them a trip if they felt like it was necessary.
Understand, we appreciate that. Ms. Cox, do you have any further comments? So a couple of things I'd like to say. We before you go forward, we encourage developers to reach out and try to work out things with residents. We realize that all times you can't meet 100% of their conditions. We've heard that the meeting wasn't probably as fruitful as it probably should have been. I think you can see in the room the passion that these people will bring. I encourage you to try to work with them. This commission will look favorably on you working to try to resolve issues prior to getting to this level so that all these good people don't have to waste supper coming up here and spending time with us. So I would just caution you to that, and we appreciate you coming forward. Thank you. So, before we move further, anyone else do you have anything else you'd like to say?
I have nothing else.
Okay, thank you. So anyone else here to speak, for this, subdivision, for this issue? Okay. All right, at this time, we've had a couple of people, sign up to speak, in opposition, and if you'll bear with me, let me find that list. So, we've got two people signed up. I know that, obviously, there's passion in this audience. We've had several, written comments that are within the records now, emails sent, communications that have sent. I would ask that the people that speak, bring up the precise issues that you are concerned with. Anybody else who wants to come up to speak, we would request that you bring up new information, because we do understand the issues at this point. So at this time, Mr. Thomas Detrick, would you like to speak?
Good evening. My name is Thomas Diedrich. I'm a resident of Waterford Place. I'm a member of the HOA board. I stand before you this evening to express my strong opposition to the proposed Dawkins Place development. Many of my concerns are the same as those that were expressed in the June meeting by my neighbors, our community, and the commissioner. First of all, this is not just a Waterford concern. This is a concern for the entire Taylorville and South Tuscaloosa community. The continued rapid development of these subdivisions, primarily in South Tuscaloosa, is having a negative impact on the quality of our lives. And at the current pace, it's only going to get worse. As I travel around the county, it seems that the majority of these types of developments are going up in our area, in South Tuscaloosa. And when you look at the vehicles that are traveling from Hale County, and when they're combined with the already heavy volume of traffic from the neighborhoods in our area, it's only going to make it worse. In January, there was some news coverage about the start of the construction of the Skyline flyover. The Alabama Department of Transportation, ALDOT, said that over 56,000 vehicles use the Skyline intersection on a daily basis. It's very likely that the majority of these vehicles will either continue down Highway 69 or they were coming from Highway 69. If this rate of building continues, the volume of vehicles traveling this corridor will be increased on top of the challenges that we're already going to be facing with the flyover construction. I would certainly hate to need an ambulance or a fire truck if there's an accident on Highway 69. As we know, each minute could mean the difference in getting the needed help or having a tragedy. During the June meeting, the commission asked the developer to get with us and to try to find a way to address our concerns. We did as you asked. We met with the representatives of the developer, and we were hoping to hear suggestions of ways in which we were able to work this out. We were told at that meeting that they wanted to help us increase our property value. We weren't given any specifics, and we were, in fact, given a packet with photos and types of homes that they plan to build. Those homes were not of the same quality of the homes in Waterford. And I don't see how building homes that are
You okay? You not? Okay.
Okay.
Where are you?
Hey, hey, man. Stop, finish this up now.
Okay.
So, as a businessman, I understand the importance of economic growth. But as a person who's concerned with the fair treatment and well-being of the entire community, I stand firmly against this development, and I ask that it not be approved. Thank you.
Mr. Diedrich, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Next person is Mr. Craig Whitfield.
Good evening. My name is Craig Whitfield. I live at 1609 Mallard Circle in South Tuscaloosa. I am not speaking on behalf of Mallard Creek subdivision. I'm speaking as a homeowner in the area immediately adjacent to Old Greensboro, and I want to talk a little bit about, and first of all, say my bottom line is I'm in opposition to the annexation first and to the current configuration of this planned development. The traffic density, according to the traffic study provided by D.R. Horton, as I understand it, is at least 2,800 additional car trips a day that would start out obviously on Old Greensboro and then filter on out to wherever they need to go. So there's an increase in that traffic flow that Mr. Diedrich was just talking about. And also just a safety issue. You know, you've got kids running around, other cars running around. So it just ups the chances of, obviously, that your accident rates. The density, from what I can understand, on the 76, I think 78 acres, 11 of which are going to be set aside for additional lots, but not specified at this time. So with what you have left and the number of separate residences that are planned for there, you're talking about, I think, approximately 3.8 structures per acre. So call it 4. That's pretty tight. As far as the city's cost, for example, the city's now going to have to provide some measure of police and fire protection. I would be very surprised if the property taxes that would come out of this area would in itself pay for the police and fire protection if you were to break it down on an incremental basis just for that. Property values up in the air. I think what you'd see is probably overall a lessening of property values, and that obviously causes all of us concern. One thing I would say is in the last meeting, the meeting last month, our commissioner for our district, Mr. Nelson, had mentioned that the county was not in favor of this. That should just be an indicator to the commission here. And I think what I would do at this point is just say, bottom line, if this were being built adjacent to your property or adjacent to your neighborhood, how would you react and feel, and would you support it or not? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Whitfield. We have 2 additional slots here for guest speakers. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak in opposition to this? Please come forward and state your name and address. Okay. Having none coming forward, applicant, Mr. Sims, would y'all like to come to the podium and say anything in response to any of these things that were brought forward? Okay. Okay. So, Commission, at this time, we have a request for withdrawal of the applicant with regards to the, do I need to speak to all of these in the
continuance?
Continuance, I'm sorry, continuance. I need to list all of these, all 4 of these, which is the subdivision, annexation, and the PUD.
No.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Wait a minute, Steve. All in favor of continuing this case till next month, signify by saying aye.
Gotta have a motion.
Aye.
Aye.
Gotta have a motion.
Don't need a motion.
Do we need a motion on this?
No.
Do it by, pardon me? Okay, we're good. All right. So we're continued. Thanks, guys. Appreciate everybody showing up.
I'd like to vote no.
Yeah, I mean,
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
you've got to,
Say I vote no.
you've got to give an opportunity for.
I apologize.
It's okay. I just don't think it's right to keep putting this thing on and on and on and off. I just hope they're ready next month when they come back.
We did, one no vote.
One no vote.
Okay. So we have 6 yeses and 1 no.
Got it. And just to be clear, anyone who was here for the Dawkins subdivision, feel free to leave if you'd like, or you can stick around and stay with us.
Seven. I'm sorry, 7 yes and 1 no, for the record. We'll give these guys a few minutes to filter out, please.
Zach.
No.
Sorry, I stole this.
Hey,
Eddie, you're supposed to give me this. I'm new with this. There you go. Where was it?
hey, John, do you know if they're gonna build it flyover that they're talking about? Do you think they will? Yeah, he thinks they will.
They spent somewhere around $11-12 million to move sewer and water utilities.
Oh, they've already done that?
They're wrapping that up.
Yeah, but it's gonna cost, how much is it gonna cost to build it?
Like $400 million.
No, John.
Nah, they ain't gonna budge.
What's gonna get accomplished between now and next time we come back?
There's some truth
That's
to
all
that.
it is the truth. That's all it is.
There ain't no solution. I can tell you that. Ain't gonna be a solution.
Hey.
Yeah.
You know, it's just,
Ms. Webb, are you ready to continue?
Let's go. If
All
we're
right.
all ready. All right, we do have one case carried over from last month, and that is S4624. This is 1610 Fifth Avenue East, a resurvey of a portion of lots 13 and 14 from Block 2 in the Lake Forest subdivision. It's consisting of one lot on approximately 0.16 acres located at 1610 Fifth Avenue East. This is in Council District 2. Here's a vicinity map of where we are. We are over in the Forest Lake neighborhood, right at the corner of 17th and 5th Avenue East. Here's an aerial view. You can't see it on this drawing, but there is a blue remnant lot line that goes right down the middle of this. Here is a plat with contours, and here is showing the improvements. So that hashed dot in the center is the existing lot line that they're proposing to remove. And in doing so, here is a site plan showing what that development, the proposed development is. It's for a duplex, a total of 6 bedrooms. And they are requesting variances from additional right-of-way along 5th Avenue East and lot size. So the minimum lot size for this development or for this building type is 7,500 square feet. They did obtain a variance from the Zoning Board of Adjustment for that, as well as a lot width situation that didn't pertain to you guys. So that is what they are requesting.
Do variance? Okay, good deal. Is the applicant present?
Commissioner, I'm Robert Martin with Duncan Coker Associates, 302 Merchants Walk, Tuscaloosa. This is just a lot consolidation for a duplex development over in Forest Lake. We're proposing to dedicate 8 feet of right-of-way, which is adequate to be able to get our half-street improvements in there. I will add that we currently do meet the lot size requirement, but with the right-of-way dedication, we will fall just below that. Be happy to answer any questions that you have for me.
Commission, do we have any questions? Okay, thank you. Is there anyone here in the audience want to speak in addition to this for and or against? Okay.
So there have been some concerns from the residents in the area, and this is in my district. There seems to be some needed infrastructure for drainage. Right along the front where we see the sidewalks are, how do we, what can I do about this being a problem, especially for the near future?
So their plan would comply with our design standards addressing stormwater runoff increases. Those are handicap ramps for the sidewalk that they're installing along the road. You'll notice they have some storm sewer along parallel in Fifth Avenue, and maybe Robert can speak a little bit more to detail, but
So I guess this is probably the question I want to ask. Will there be any upgrades with this construction with what's already there? Because it's not really much.
The drainage is going to be improved in this area because as a part of the half-street improvements, we have to construct curb and gutter, which is going to trigger us putting the inlet in, which is going to help the roadside drainage in this area. Because currently today, there is no curb and gutter. It's just a small roadside ditch that's very shallow. We're going to fix that issue.
Robert, was there a house on this lot before the tornado? Did a house?
Yes, sir. There was a single-family residence.
Yeah, so, I mean,
So currently, there is nothing. It's been vacant since the tornado.
Any other comments from the commission? Okay, thank you. Please bring up the variances again. Okay, Commission, at this time, we have S-46-24, 1610 Fifth Avenue East, a resurvey of portion lots 13 and 14, Block 2, Lake Forest subdivision. With 2 variance requests, additional right-of-way along Fifth Street, Avenue East, and lot size. At this time, I'll ask for a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Starting with you, Mr. Rumsey.
yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Motion passed. Thank you.
All right, we have one companion case this evening. It'll be a rezoning and a subdivision. We'll start with that rezoning request. It's Z1024. Mike Hicks is petitioning to rezone approximately .66 acres located at 927 Kicker Road from BGO to RA2, and this is in Council District 5. Here's the vicinity map. We are off of Kicker Road, right close to being underneath the University Bridge. Here is the existing zoning. So this parcel is BGO. You're surrounded by RA2, RD2 to the south, and across is ML. And here's an aerial view of that site. Here are some photos of the existing site. It's vacant today. Here's that corner right under the bridge, or close to being under the bridge. This is a rezoning request to allow for a townhome development. Here is a site plan that we'll also see when we go through the subdivision slides, but this is the layout. So it's 8 townhome units. Lot 9 will serve as overflow parking. Each townhome unit does have 2 off-street spaces within a garage. Here are those typical units, 3 bedrooms each. And here are some renderings of what those could look like. Looking at framework, this does not conform to the future land use map. It was identified as limited commercial. So the zoning request and the intended uses both do not conform to the plan. Here is that future land use character map. You're surrounded by similar residential uses as the existing zoning shows. And highlighted in bold are those RA2 permitted uses. Any questions on the rezoning before we jump into the subdivision? All right, we are still in the same area, so I'll go through these pretty quickly. Here is that site plan with contours and a copy of the plat without. With this subdivision request, they are requesting a variance from additional right-of-way along Kicker Road, as well as dedicating additional for the alley just to the north.
Engineering, talk to us about the additional right-of-way.
So I would point out that they are dedicating some additional right-of-way with this proposal. The street classification for Kicker would require more than the 25 feet from center line. However, we've been through this with the developer and had some lengthy conversations. I'm satisfied that this proposal, if Kicker ever needs to be widened, will have sufficient right-of-way using both sides of the roadway. Additionally, they're dedicating a utility easement for our benefit along the front where we have a water line that's right off the edge of the pavement. As far as the alley to the rear, it's never been developed, it's never been used. The topography is such that you couldn't construct an alley without major grading on outside the right-of-way on both sides. As you can tell by their plan, they're not proposing to improve the right-of-way. I just don't believe there's any benefit to asking for that additional 5 feet of alley dedication that would not serve any purpose.
I guess my question, we talked during chair, vice chair meeting, that there was, at that time, I think there was some concern with the alleyway with regard to them accessing and backing into it. I mean, if they're will most likely have to back into the alley to get out. Is that not correct?
Well, with this arrangement here, they have 20 feet to back out of their garage. Note that it's a one-way direction, so they'll be backing out and heading south, passing behind all the, the other, let's say you're coming out of lot 1.
Yeah.
You would come down and then exit out onto Kicker in that direction. I believe it's sufficient.
Okay. Okay. You're okay with it. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Is the applicant here?
Mike Hicks with Hurd & Hicks Associates, 2728 Lurleen Wallace Boulevard, Northport, here along with the developers to present this townhome development. Originally, we tried to get 11 units on it, and the topography just wouldn't allow it. That property to the upper right, as you look at it, or in the southeast, too steep. That's why we couldn't use, we wanted to use the alley as well, but it just wasn't feasible. So it leaves us plenty of room for parking on that south end anyway.
So I thought, a lot doesn't have to have access, access fronting on one street, but the car not being able to access it from that side. Does that qualify as access to a city street? Because you got over 3 lots. No 3 lots can share a drive, but this many are sharing a drive because they're not really fronting on you're not really fronting on a city street. Is that legal? You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. So in a lot of townhome scenarios that y'all have looked at and approved, it's not uncommon for there to be a shared use agreement in the plat or along with the HOA documents that allows each resident to pass along the drive that's common to all the townhome units.
But you could,
But if somebody's,
yeah,
I mean, if somebody's parking back there, I mean, let's say they've got a friend and the friend doesn't want to park over there in lot 9, and so they're gonna visit lot 2, can they not pull in right there and block that, so that one can't get across?
is the townhomes taking over the alley?
No, they're not using the alley at all. Even though their drive that they're proposing that's not in the alley, it's wide enough for 2 vehicles to pass. Now, obviously, there's a scenario where it can be blocked. But this, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but this fulfills our zoning requirements.
Does 2 off-street parking spaces, and they're actually adding 2 additional with being able to park, oh, actually, sorry, just to your point, they don't have the 2 additional behind the garage, but they do have this common area for their guests, and that would just be something that the HOA or owners would have to really regulate to make sure that they're not blocking that drive.
Okay. But you're saying that it's legal to force someone to back out into a one-way 10-foot alley?
Well, I don't think, but that alley's not paved or anything, right?
They're not going to be using the alley.
Yeah, it's just like
It is not, it's not being developed.
I thought I heard you say that, so how are they getting,
They're gonna go straight, they're gonna pass somebody's driveway, or not driveway, but whatever you call that paved path.
So
that's
essentially,
that's what that is? I mean, right to the back of the car is paved?
yeah, that's gonna be a 20-foot, this is 20 feet right here.
Consider that a 20-foot drive aisle
Yeah.
is what
Yeah.
that is.
Mr. Hicks. Stephen, you good? Oh, go ahead.
I've just never seen this before. I mean, have we seen this before? I don't think I've ever seen this before, ever.
So I'll admit that most every time that we're backed up to an alley, the alley's either already developed partially or it's included in the development plan. But if you look at the topography here, you can't create a drivable street within that alley without having to get permission from the landowner to the north, or I'm sorry, to the east, to grade substantially onto their property. The slope on the ground is just too steep to make it drivable. We wouldn't approve something that would be in that steep of a slope.
You've got to, so,
Without grading onto the existing owner.
Yes, sir, that's right.
I mean, looks like there's going to be some fist fights in the back.
Some sort of agreement, but I just can see it being a cluster back there.
Yes, absolutely.
And it depends on, I mean, especially, and I don't know who's gonna live here, but I'm just assuming that it's gonna be students. And, they've got folks visiting all the time, and they're gonna park as close as they can, like any of us would. I'm not just saying students. I guess if they cover that, put up no parking signs, or I don't know, but, I guess the people who buy these things will just have to,
The developer is here if you want to specifically ask them to answer that question of how they're going to alleviate that situation.
I think we should ask.
I believe the 12th Street condominiums, correct me if I'm wrong, that Mark Booth developed is similar to this. In fact, it's a one-way drive coming in with garages coming out on it that they all share.
Hold on now, where?
12th Street condominiums over by the City Board of Education.
Yeah, they're fronting on a city street, but you're saying they're backing out into an alley?
Back out into a common alley in the back.
How wide is it?
don't remember. It's no, it's not, it's
So-
no wider than 20 feet, I'm sure.
But see, I mean, do you have the turning radius? I mean, that looks like that's gonna be that looks like it looks tight on paper to get in that garage. And so you're showing individual lots, so you're forcing them to back out into someone else's, which we kind of ran into that with Mark Booth a couple of months ago.
Is the alley,
It's not being utilized.
is the alley owned by the city currently?
I mean,
Yes, it is.
I mean, really, you don't have any setback here, right?
20-foot setback.
Yeah,
But-
the building
But you're
itself.
using the driveway, and you have a zero lot line because of the driveway. You're using the driveway that abuts it. So there's no
Well, the
setback at all on the rear.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
The townhomes are butted up against the setback, rear setback, which is 20 feet.
But this may as well be a city street. Right? I mean, I'm just trying to think of something. All right, so Fox Run, they don't even have a parking space. They just park out in a common driveway. I'm like you, it's gonna be,
Why not ask the city to vacate the alley? We do it all the time. That's an additional 5 feet.
Well, the adjoining landowner to the east would get 5 feet, so we wouldn't gain but 5 feet. And the grading is the real issue.
That may solve part of Mr. Rumsey's
well,
concerns.
if it's legal, I mean, and now the police, if it's private property and it happens like Dina says, they can't come over there and tell them to move. It's just tough.
You're gonna, I mean, in order to install the proposed sewer system, you're gonna have to grade part of that anyway, aren't you?
Yes.
I mean, and you're gonna be grading, most likely be grading onto them. Jason, correct?
Correct, yes.
Mr. Hicks, real quick question for me. What about trash? Where's your trash or dumpster?
Well, what they prefer would be garbage cars with a valet service, but we have plenty of room for a dumpster over there on Lot 9 if we need to.
Are you in excess of parking requirements
Right.
currently? Are you meeting
Currently,
parking
we've got
requirements?
the exact amount needed, but as you see, the piece south of the AT&T easement
Must be some rough.
could supply plenty of more parking spaces.
What, that AT&T easement, I noticed, appears you've got a structure over the parking lot line. Is that accurate?
Yeah, they're gonna
Sir?
move that one, the
Pardon
one
me?
that's in the park. They're gonna move that. the
So
one
that's not part of the AT&T equipment easement?
Yeah, they've got 3 pieces of equipment, and that smallest one you see is over their easement. They're gonna slide that back within their easement.
They being AT&T?
AT&T, they've already agreed to it, yes.
Mike, was this a lot that was affected by the tornado?
Yes.
And there was a house on it?
No, I believe there was a commercial building on it. I can't remember what was there, truthfully.
That where Druid Glass used to be?
Is that Druid Glass, or were they further to the
No,
south?
they were
I'm
further.
not sure. That might have been Druid Glass, yeah. Montgomery Woodworks was south of there.
Okay. Any further questions of the?
Hey, I just have a question, maybe not for you, maybe it's for you. Okay, you said if we ever needed more right-of-way on Kicker Road, that there was enough property in there. But if we have to give it, don't we have to, then we'll have to buy it from whoever owns it?
So yes, to answer your question, yes. Don't forget that they are dedicating 12 to 13 feet of right-of-way with this plan. They're giving us additional right-of-way already as well. So normally when we widen a street, we take right-of-way from either side.
Like I got a deal.
Okay.
We'll give them half the alley and they give us some more street.
This is certainly y'all's decision to make.
Well,
I still wonder what you ask about garbage or garbage carts. These folks aren't gonna roll them back in and out every day, so you need to look at a dumpster or something along those lines to where environmental services don't have an issue.
I'm Brandon Clark, 2201 Maxie Thomas Way, with Build Residential, the developer. Just to answer a couple of your questions, we will meet with ESD. We certainly wouldn't expect someone to roll their garbage cart, 8 units, but there will be a homeowners association, and that might include a porter service if that works for ESD. And if there's a appealing place on the lot for those carts to be rolled to, we will. If not, we'll place a dumpster on Lot 9 and screen it. In regards to the alley right-of-way, as Mr. Gardner said, that the issue for utilizing that for vehicular traffic is just the topography of it, that it could not be graded to be meeting the standards that would be required to be used for vehicular traffic. But it is still useful to the public and to our lot as a utility area. And also, the other thing, we will absolutely have in our HOA document and on our plat, a joint permanent easement recorded across that driveway, as well as stipulations, obviously, that you cannot park in that area, and enforce that through signage and management and any way that we can.
How many bedrooms are they?
It's 3 beds, 3 baths, and a 2-car garage.
Would the dumpster have to be placed on, okay, where you have Lot 9 common area? If you go straight up, I guess, what did we say that was? East? What's up? East, okay. All right. That little area back there where the 9 is that where the dumpster would go?
No, ma'am, it would be to the other side of the AT&T easement.
Okay, so that's
Yes,
accessible or whatever?
And we can cross that easement, we can park on that easement. There's an equipment easement that's shown as a crosshatch that we would not park on, but the rest of it we could pave over or, have drive aisles over, and we might, add larger turning radiuses if we end up with a dumpster truck.
And the garbage truck, whoever comes to pick up the dumpster also goes over that in the back, because they can't go over the sidewalk, I don't guess, to get to the dumpster, correct?
It would be, yeah, correct, as shown.
The sidewalk would be constructed with enough strength for vehicles to cross it.
Okay.
I just don't think it's gonna work. I don't think cars are gonna park in the garages. I think cars are gonna be parked everywhere. And, you don't have adequate parking. You don't have ingress, egress. I mean, turning radiuses work on paper, but I can draw you a turning radius on paper that the garbage truck will never hit. It's just not gonna, this is gonna be a train wreck down here.
To correct Mr. Hicks, I believe we do have 1 or possibly 2 additional parking spaces that are required, and we can add additional.
Yeah, so I understand if if the kids, if you rent a kid. If you rent to families, I don't think you got a problem.
Well, obviously, we could not and would not discriminate on who we sell these to. These will be for sale.
They're not a protected class, so that's not true.
But, okay, well, we still would not. But I would say that if our intention was to just build student housing units, that they would not look like this.
Well, you're gonna sell the units, right?
Yes, sir.
So you don't care what happens after you sell them?
Well, we want it to work, and
Yeah, well,
we've
it's
got
not. It's not gonna work.
8 units
It
to
may be
sell
legal.
there. So,
Okay.
like I said, it's not, I'm sure you have plenty of people that come up here and say they're not doing student housing. And obviously, we can't say, hey, you can't buy this, you're not a student. But
Right.
we do incorporate features that are not typical
If
of
they're for
student
sale,
housing.
if they're for sale, I guess it's a whole different matter.
We're trying to provide some more housing inventory in that Alberta area for sale.
All right, Commissioner, any other questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you. Does anyone here else wish to speak for or against this These two items? Okay. Any additional comments with the commission? Commission, at this time, we have companion cases. We'll take them separately. The first one is rezoning Z 10-24, approximately 0.66 acres located at 927 Kicker Road from BGO to RA-2. May I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Having a motion and second, I'll start with Ms. Hornsby.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes. 5-2. All right, with regards to subdivision S-57-24 Kicker infill townhomes, we have variances up, consisting of 11 townhome lots and one single-family residential lot on approximately 0.66 acres in conjunction with companion case Z-10-24 with requested variance of additional right-of-way along Kicker and Alley. May I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Mr. Rumsey?
No.
Yes.
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 Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries. All right.
All right, Commission, we have one standalone rezoning request, that's Z1124. This is Griffin Brothers Investment LLC. They're petitioning to rezone approximately 7.17 acres located at 5851 31st Street from R2 to ML. This is in Council District 1. Here is the vicinity map. We are in between Culver Road and Joe Malisham Parkway. Here is the existing zoning. So this property is zoned R2. You've got Residential District 1 to the east, and you have Residential District 2 to the west. And then there is ML on the corner hugging Joe Malisham. Here is the aerial view. This site is currently undeveloped. They're requesting to rezone to ML to allow for a proposed office warehouse. Here is a site plan of what that could look like, having one access point off of 31st. They're also showing a 50-foot landscape buffer to the east and western properties. This does not conform to framework, the zoning request, as well as the intended use. This is shown as suburban residential, and here is that future land use character map. So all of the yellow is the suburban residential future land use. All of the purple will be flex employment.
Hey, before you go past that, okay, I remember that the property to the left is ML. Was there some property, and I always think that north is up, the property below the subject property, is that already ML also?
It's in the county.
It's in the county, okay.
What's
Yes,
the
ma'am.
current use?
Residential.
Residential.
That's
Okay.
right. There's a little bit of
Seems like
commercial
there
to
was
the north.
another piece of purple somewhere besides the big block on the left, but maybe I looked at it wrong.
I'm not sure. And here is that permitted use table. So highlighted and in bold are all of the permitted uses within the ML district. Any other questions for staff? All right.
Applicant?
Ron Henderson with Tuscaloosa Engineering Associates. I am, got quite a long bit of conversation here about this, so I hope you'll bear with me. The surrounding properties, north and south, are both out in the county. So, and if you look at the adjoining properties, northeast of this property is a auto repair place. It's a bunch of cars parked out there. I don't know whether it's being repaired. I don't know whether it's a junkyard. I don't know what it is, but
I was there Saturday. Probably the place wasn't open. On the other hand, it certainly doesn't normally look like a residential lot. Do you happen to have a copy of the photograph of that? Okay. I made a photograph, but
Show that location on the map, please, staff. Okay. And that's in the county, correct?
yes.
Okay.
The property's been listed twice, 7/18/23, and it's taken off the market, listed again 12/18/23, and it's now was listed again January the 2nd of 24. There's no offers. I'm suggesting that this is not suitable for residential development unless one person purchases a parcel for one house. Here's the reason why. There's a ditch running north and south along the east side of that parcel. That ditch is, the drainage from the east goes to the ditch, the drainage from the west goes to the ditch, and there's a high spot on the west side of the parcel. That's the part that we're planning on developing if given the opportunity. The area where the ditch is basically a wetlands. You've got evidence of fluted trees, dead foliage in the ditch area, and it is a fairly wide ditch. I would assume or estimate that it covers an acre to an acre and a half, and maybe even 2 acres. I did not walk the whole thing. We, however, did go out there and do soil evaluations on this property. There is no suitable on-site sewage disposal locations for any of this parcel, not any. We looked at all of it. And so on-site sewage disposal would be a mound system, engineered design mound system. Now, I don't know whether you're familiar with the cost of those things, $18,000 to $22,000 for a single residential lot. The other problem with that is if you go with septic, you have to have 15,000 square feet per residential lot. That's basically an R1 lot, okay? So I did some cost estimating. Because of the soils out there, you would have to remove all of the width of the road and all of the footings to the house to a distance 10 feet outside the house. So if you remove 10 feet, remove 4 feet, bring back 4 feet, I've estimated that the cost for a R1 lot, which if you put septic on there, that's what it's gonna be. The cost for an R1 lot is about $55,000 per lot. So the other option would be a pump station. There is no sewer on 31st Street adjacent to the property. So if you put a pump station, I've estimated that you get 20 lots in the subdivision, including the 57th court. It would be kind of a loop street there. So if you look at it from that perspective, the cost per lot, including the pump station and all of the dirt work, the roads, so forth, is about $52,000 per lot. If you use the real estate idea of the value of the house is 5 times the value of the lot, that would make the lot for the septic lots, $330,000, and the lot for the pump station would be $312,000 per lot. As you might imagine, that doesn't fit with the other buildings around it. So if the applicant is allowed to put an office warehouse, and that's what the goal is, this is a paper product company. There is 4 members in the staff, and there is an estimated not more than 6 trucks per day. You saw the layout. It's on the northwest side of the lot. We intend to comply with a buffer, vegetative buffer, which you see in the hatched area on either side. That is a 50 feet on either side. The vegetative growth there currently is about 40-year-old pine oak timber. So the opportunity for the residents to the west and the residents to the east to see this, even in the wintertime, is negligible. We intend on allowing much more than just the 50 feet remain unused. In other words, remain timbered. We estimate that we'll be taking about an acre and a quarter as our use and clearing that, making a yard out of it, and the rest of it will remain timbered. So visibility from the residents on either side would be negligible. Time of operation for this building is between 7 a.m. in the morning and 6 in the evening. The traffic count, I've already said, if you use septic, it's about 40 cars per day, trips per day. If you use a pump station, I'm sorry, I'm backwards. If you use a pump station, it's about 40 trips per day. If you use septic, it's about 24 units, 30 units per day, 30 cars per day. So lighting, if you consider lighting, all of the lighting would be encapsulated in all of these woods all the way around it. So it's not an issue as far as lighting, and the lighting would be towards the parking lot and pointed down. Security, one of the concerns might be security. We're planning on fencing all of the area that is cleared, all of the area that is cleared, okay? We'll be bringing in good material for the construction of the building and the parking lot, already been approved by the owner. Here's our request, that you allow us to use a single-use zoning in the ML zone for an office warehouse. What I'm saying in that is we will guarantee in this zoning that will only be used for office warehouse. Any questions?
You're saying that you'd put it in the deed, that that's the only use?
Yes, that'd be the only use. We're asking that you zone it for that single use.
You don't like that, do you, Zach?
No, we don't do it per use. If you rezone it ML, it's open to any other ML allowed use.
Could they get a zoning board of adjustment to let them?
They could pursue a use variance from the zoning board of adjustment, but they would have to provide a hardship, which.
He just did that.
Yeah.
Is there any other? I'm just kidding.
Can I respond to this, your financial hardship question?
No, that's not legal.
Oh, you're talking about the zoning board of adjustment?
Right.
I'm sorry, okay.
Anything else?
Yes.
Any other questions?
All right, but, now hold on one second, before we leave that. If they were willing to have a restrictive covenant, if the owner, he's gonna own all this land, he could record a restrictive covenant
Be willing to do that.
and say, because a restrictive covenant will run with the land for a
Right.
certain period of time, right, Jimbo?
Yeah, the owner the owner of all the property could undo the restrictive covenant.
So somebody could buy it from the office warehouse owners,
Right.
and then, since it's just one owner, they could, yeah, okay.
We're willing to do whatever for it to be solely considered a office warehouse, by whatever method that is.
And, okay, so how are you gonna take care of the sewage?
He's going to build a on-site sewage disposal system for a single unit. It will be above-ground septic system, but it's a very small system because there's so few people in the building.
You said that the current buffers are 4-year-old mixed, I guess, both buffers, 4-year-olds mixed.
40.
behind-
40.
40?
40-year-old.
40-year-old, okay. What's the height of this building going to be?
I would say in the 50-foot range. They're huge.
The height of the building?
Oh, height of the single story.
I know, but what's the height? I mean, I can build.
12 foot.
12 foot.
Yeah.
Any additional questions for the applicant? Councilman Howe? Councilwoman Howe?
Yes, and I am sorry, I represent the council, so I want to make sure I ask some questions for Councilor Wilson, who is trying to communicate with me now. So one of my questions was, you said that this business will operate from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. What days a week? 5?
I'm sorry, say it again.
What days a week will the business operate?
5 days a week.
5 days a week, okay. And another question, you already spoke towards security. We asked about the entrances and exits for security. So is this, will it be a gated premises, I guess is what they're asking?
It'll be a perimeter fencing, you know,
Okay.
with a, and I'm not sure that whether there will be a automatic gate or not, but it will be a gate that's locked during non-operational times.
You did say this was office supplies, correct?
I'm sorry?
Office supplies?
Office supply. Actually, the office supply supplies the city with its furniture and paper, so it's kind of unusual.
Mike, is a drainage study or anything required since this is wetlands and all that kind of stuff?
So he will end up giving us a land development permit, a full set of plans. So it will involve addressing the increase in runoff from what they propose. At this stage, there is no requirement for a drainage study.
But can you even put an on-site disposal system when the water table is like at the street?
That's what he keeps referring to, is what's called a mound system, where the system is built above the groundwater table. You bring in fill material, create a mound of dirt that your system operates in.
Okay.
And I'm convinced that it will work because of the type of mound system that I'm proposing.
They did that over there next to Nick's, right?
Say again?
They did that next to Nick's?
Yes. Mike remembers that we did, when I worked at McGifford, we did mound systems in this area for development of other commercial lots, and they worked, I don't know, 25 years now.
Councilwoman Howard, one thing we jumped in front of you, did we get all your questions answered?
I believe so. There are a lot of drainage concerns currently already in this area that I'm aware of, and I know that was some concerns of some of the residents there, and then we have some public comments from one of those residents. So I understand that the drainage study is not necessary for this part of the process, correct? So we'll get that later on.
It is. Here's what I haven't talked about is this thing drains west to east. Our detention pond will be on the east side of that drive aisle there, okay? So there was one comment that I got that the guy on the left side, on the west side over here, was concerned about flooding. It drains west to east towards this ditch that's on the east side of the property, okay? So, and we're on the east side of the, if you see the contour there, it's basically, we're right on top of the hill, okay?
Okay.
So, the rest of the thing will be grass. There'll be plenty of time for it to disperse. Plus, it will go through detention.
Is that last thing, you said there's no way that we can make this restricted, right, according to, I know
I mean, there's,
said by any means.
for the deed, I mean, I think that would be between him or the owner of the property if they want to go that route, but I don't want to put any conditions on a rezoning.
I have one more question. If the system is mounted, how will that impact current residents who are lower? Will a trench be built or will it be necessary?
Honestly, the ditch would catch the water that's currently there, okay? And it does not go into the property to the east. Again, the drainage as it sits today is west to east towards that ditch. Does that make sense? So there would be no need for a trench.
Okay.
It would naturally flow west to east.
Is that not,
Mike, if we approve this,
is that not paved?
this is more or less what they would have to build now. They keep talking about requiring it not to be anything but an office building or whatever.
We rezoned
If-
it.
But if someone else came in here, they'd still have to get a land development permit to come through the city as far as drainage and all that kind of stuff, have to be approved through you guys anyway, wouldn't it?
Yes, sir. I mean, the zoning's not gonna matter. This is in our planning well, it's in the city limits, it's in the corporate limits, so anything that happens on this property comes through my office.
But if it meets the requirements, the zoning requirements after we rezoned it, it'll be approved. It's not, we can't stop it.
Unless there was an engineering challenge that they couldn't overcome and satisfy our office with.
Exactly.
They could build whatever the zone allows.
Basically, unless, if they didn't ask for a variance, they could be approved, whatever it was.
Yes, sir.
It'd be on consent agenda. Okay, any further questions? Anybody else here speak in favor of this development? We have one person that has signed up to speak in opposition. It's Anthony L. McCaw. I'm sorry, I may not have got that right. Anthony, come on up.
Also, just want to clarify one thing, that we did get one email in opposition as well for this one.
Good evening.
State your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, sir. My name is Anthony McKay. The address of my property is 5922 31st Street, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I am the property owner across from the proposed site that they are proposing to put the building. Unfortunately, I spoke to this gentleman Saturday for the first time, that he wanted to finally meet somebody that had property nearby, which I feel like it's at a late hour, to try to get to know who the parishioners are who are nearby. Actually, I thought their research should have been earlier to know all the people who have either kids nearby, whether they were senior citizens or young people, and get a collective idea about who would be affected by the project and what the feel of the community is about the project. Certainly, his facts are skewed, and I have explained that to him Saturday. Number one, to address my concerns, I am totally against the building coming there. I have offered $50,000 at one time for that particular piece of land, and I have offered $68,000 with the KW Realty Company, and they turned both of the offers down. I understand that maybe perhaps he might have, this firm may have bought it for $75,000, so they were the winner of the property. Certainly that this property has a flooding issue, and basically I get the gist of the flood on the backside of my property. If I may show you a picture to help you better understand, so there will be no ifs, ands, and buts about it, to get just a elementary view of what I have to say. The proposed site, I am the McKay Thomas subdivision here. I actually own this particular back lot here. This is the proposed site that they're asking to build.
Excuse me one second. Can you please show us on the,
I think we can look at it on the screen.
Yeah, we're
There we
trying
go.
to, yeah.
You can see it.
On the table.
Ms. McKay, up
Okay,
here.
there you go.
Up top,
Okay.
up above us.
Okay, gotcha,
See where she's got the X mark?
Who do I give this to?
You can
just
give
hold
that
it.
to them for the record.
Thank you so much.
So
So,
is that the proper mark for your property?
Where that X is that your property?
The purple line.
The purple.
Can you pull it down a little bit?
That's as high as we got a photo of, but based off of that and what I have in front of me, that's kind of the shape of your property.
Yes.
Right there, and then there's,
Can you have a little light or something I can kind of speak?
if you, yeah, pull that little drawer out right there, underneath, right there, and you can write on it
I can.
with your finger. Yes, sir.
Yes. The Howards own some property on the backside that has a ditch that comes here that fills with water on the backside that comes around this proposed property that he has bought that drains automatically over down here, that he's proposing to build a mound system that's uncontrollable, that a mound system that does have a filtration pipe that's automatically is in every mound system. You can trap solid in mound system, but every mound system is gonna have a water filtration line that's got to delete the water out of it. Otherwise, you're gonna run a truck every day, which he says he's gonna run 6 trucks a day. He can get ready to run more than 6 trucks a day if he's gonna collect all the water that's coming from a plant that's gonna be an acre big, called a one-source company. He's gonna build a one-source company that's an acre big on this lot. And if you check out what OneSource has, OneSource has 25,000 products that they sell. And you can't stop them from having increase. That water runs from the Howard product all the way around this particular adjacent product and comes on the back of what he calls a lot of cars. It's a body shop, Willie Barnes Body Shop, who sold that property, which owned by Beverly Barnes. I offered her $50,000, I offered her $68,000. She sold it to KW Realty Company, who offered that particular property to me for $92,000, who sold that property to now this company. And it comes to my backside, and right now I get all that water. If he adds any water from his infiltration system, he's got to come in that ditch line. It's got to go somewhere. And it's got to be added to my problem, and it's got to come around here. Not only do I have 3 court custody children that's going to be on that 25-foot per side small road that the state of Alabama protects road sides from big trucks coming in. Now I got to have a future endangerment for those 3 kids with a big truck coming in whose gateway is gonna be on that road, adding endangerment possibility to my 3 children that's gonna subject them to lawsuit. If anything happened to my little kids, I have already started my future billing as a new home site there. That's the purpose of me buying that particular home site. Now you're adding further damage to my property water-wise. You didn't investigate whether people had kids. You didn't investigate the future plans of other people in there. You got older people in here who's got property that don't want noise.
He's out of
Mr.
time.
Mr.
He's out of
Your
time.
Your time is up. I'll ask you to finish up as quickly as you can.
I'm sorry. Let me finally finish it.
Get to your point, please. Thank you.
I am totally against it. I feel like I have spent over $50,000 on my place, preparing myself for a future, that even by allowing something like this, I offered 68 so that my 50 wouldn't be wasted. They turned that down and sold it for 75. Is there a solution? Yes. If you look at my drawing, where they could easily have prevented this and could have had easily the solution. On the end of this road down here, there were 10 acres and 10 acres off of Joseph Malisham Park.
Mr. McKay, please.
About that?
Your time is up, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Is there anyone else in the audience that wants to speak in opposition?
Oh, she doesn't want to speak anymore.
All right, commission.
Hold on.
This lady.
Oh, I'm sorry. Please state your name and address for the record, please. We can't hear you. There we go. All right,
My
thank you.
name is Maddie Hargrove. I live on 32nd Street. I just wanted to ask, I got 5 young small ones, and I just wanted to know, would the pollution from this plant, would we have any problems from that? That's the only
Did you
question
say
that I got.
pollution?
Yes.
Pollution?
Because see, right now, we having some issue with that now.
Yeah.
Because we own separate tank. Everybody on 32nd has separate tanks.
Okay.
We don't have so we have to get the people to come out and pump out the tanks. So I just want to know, would that interfere with what we already got going on?
Okay. We will ask the petitioner to come back up and address that, okay? Thank you
thank
very
you.
much, appreciate it. Petitioner, would you like to come readdress some of these concerns?
I'm not sure I understood what they were. If you recap those for me.
I think the last one was obviously pollution. There was an issue with regards to potential hazard for children. There was an issue with the excessive runoff because of the above-ground septic system. I think there was a drainage. There was a lot of concern.
Okay.
Drainage and
Well, the property naturally slopes from west to east.
let's talk about the pollution first.
Okay.
Let's go back.
On-site sewage disposal. The health department is the regulatory body for on-site sewage disposal. I have to submit an engineer designs construction plan to them and meet their regulations.
Okay.
Their regulations are such that you are given several kinds of systems that you can use, and it's to the discretion of the engineer as to which kind to use.
Okay.
You can use a forced system where it's a low-pressure pipe into a smaller pipe, and it's jetted throughout the whole system. And that's the system that I'm planning on using. The reason for that is because it puts the smallest amount of pressure on the ground in a small location. If you were to put a chambered system in there, you're dumping water all in one spot, and then it has to flow through the system. That's not what I'm proposing. I'm proposing a low-pressure pipe so that you have emitters coming out throughout the whole system all at once, and so you have very little chance of repairs to the system.
Okay.
The other thing is
Safety.
Safety?
Yes.
Okay, so typically you would expect that road, traffic could come from either Culver or what's that, Highway 11? I can't remember the roads.
It's 11.
Is that right? And so it could go between the two roads. We're talking about bob trucks. We're not talking about 18-wheelers.
That's what size?
Yeah.
We are talking about panel.
Bob trucks is what I understand. They're telling me is bob trucks. It's not like you're putting an 18-wheeler out there. That's what they use. Now, that's what they're telling me. Now, if it's any different than that, I don't know it.
Well, I guess would product delivery, I mean, I'm sure they're delivering on box vans, but are they taking any large trucks in from delivery?
No. That's, to my knowledge, no. They are furniture and paper, and typically that's done in a bob truck.
Zach, can you pull up a zoning map around this?
Zoning to the east is, I thought it was R2, but.
So across the street is county?
Yeah, so directly across the street is county, so Mr. McKay's property is county. Miss Hargrove's property is, I believe, in this area right here. So she's in the city R1, and then you've got a house here, and then this was recently rezoned to ML, not recently, but a few years ago, but nothing ever was developed on that site.
The last lady that talked, if she's the one that's the last X,
over
the
in this
drainage
area.
goes east to west, right there to a ditch on the east side of our property. So there's no chance that pollution would ever go all the way across the ditch to her property.
But notice went to all these R1 owners.
Sorry?
There are one, that's correct.
Notice
Yeah.
went to all these R1 people. Did it go to that address or to the owner's address?
It went to, yeah, 50-foot.
When you send notice, does it go to this property, or does it go, if it's
The
a rental
owner's
property, does it
address.
go to the landlord?
The landlord, or the owner of the property.
That's county, north and south. Does it go to the county? Notice it goes to
Yeah, we send it to
adjacent county?
everyone adjacent, or within that 50-foot.
Any other questions?
100, sorry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, Commission, this time I'll close public discussion. Commission, regarding the rezoning request, Z11-24, I'd like to have some discussion. You know, and I'll start out. When you first look at a piece of property, I thought that the applicant or petitioner did a really good job of presenting his case. However, we are rezoning a piece of property to ML that does actually butt an R1 and an R2. Had the county, two county properties not been adjacent to it, this could have been, in my consideration, spot zoning. I really had concern about it. I do understand the petitioner's attempt to place a low-impact type facility in close proximity to R1 and R2. And in many cases, we have this come before us where the R1 and R2 will support it because a worse use could be garnered here in this area. Those are my thoughts. I'll put it out to you for discussion, please.
Hey, Zach, the property that was rezoned ML that you just mentioned a few years ago, that would have been before we had our comprehensive plan approved?
I believe it was after, but it is at the intersection of Joe Malisham and I believe Culver. So it's it's a pretty significant intersection where a lot of traffic already comes through there.
So you think that possibly the comprehensive plan recommended that it be ML, or that was their thought? Okay. But
No.
not this property? Okay. Suburban, whatever it's called?
That's right.
Okay, gotcha.
I guess my thoughts is, I like the fact that the petitioner is trying to restrict the use, but however, if we approve this, it could be something far worse than, we could have something that has 18-wheelers coming down that road later in the future, correct?
That's correct.
And that's just my, kind of, one of my thoughts.
I think one of the big issues is this property is going to be hard to do anything with except something like this. When you listen to him talk, unless the city was to run sewer down this area, which would cost millions of dollars, this property is just going to sit vacant forever because you can't afford to put the mound systems for each home and then build a home and everything on it. You'd have a $500,000 house when you got through. So I don't like the fact that you're putting this close to a neighborhood, but I do like the fact that what they're proposing to build. I just wish we could come up with some way to lock them down into what he's proposing. But with the wetlands and things around it, anything you build down there is going to be hard to get approved. And this looks like it'll have the least impact if that property is going to be developed.
Well, interestingly, and I'm kind of surprised, usually when you have residences around it, you have some opposition.
Now, besides, I mean, we had one, and I think that sounded more like a money issue
One of them.
rather than a use, but
Well, I guess,
Okay.
no one,
Any
no one,
further discussion?
no one abutting it has said.
Councilwoman Howard?
I feel like all of my concerns that I've had have been answered. The petitioner did do a pretty good job and is in a residential area, but it is a low effect on the community. So I'll just leave it there.
I'll remind Commission this vote will be a recommendation to the City Council on, so, any further discussion? Point, I'll close discussion. Commission, before us, we have Z 11-24. Griffin Brothers Investment wants to rezone approximately 7.717 acres at 5851 35th Street from R2 to ML. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Starting with you, Mr. Rumsey.
Yes.
No?
Yes.
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 No.
No. So what, four?
Recommendation 5-3.
Yeah.
5-3 recommendation. Okay. All right, next item.
Benjamin Barnes, YMCA.
Next case, we have S 5924, Benjamin Barnes YMCA. This is a resurvey of Block 1 of Colton and unplatted land. This is consisting of 5 lots on approximately 53 acres located at 3101 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and 2621 through 2623 Colton Road. This is in Council District 2. Here is the vicinity map. We are near the McDonald Hughes Community Center and the Benjamin Barnes YMCA. Here is an aerial overview. This plat was brought to you all last year. It was a 4-lot subdivision at the time. We're back asking for 5. Here is that plat with contours and without. Exact same layout as before. However, the northern portion is splitting out the Benjamin Barnes Y, which is what you'll see here. So 4 lots are shown at the north, and then 1 remainder lot to the south. Requesting variances for sidewalks, drainage study, as well as half-street improvements.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Petitioner?
Good evening, Commission. Eric Hamner, TTL, 3516 Greensboro Avenue. I don't have anything else to add to the presentation. Just have any questions. If y'all have any questions for me to answer.
I think this was to address some parking issues that they were
It mainly was just to create, the last lot didn't cut out that piece for the Y. It was all of that lot to the northwest. This is solely to cut out that piece from the city to the Y, I'm assuming.
Commission, any questions for the petitioner?
I'm just curious, what does the city do with all those little lots up there in the top left-hand part?
Well, they're all fixing to become one. We're removing all those lot lines as part of this too.
Okay, but so there's nothing on there right now?
Nothing on
Oh,
there. It
okay,
was
I'm
a whole
sorry. I
part of
thought
that
maybe
neighborhood. I don't
they
think
were- Okay.
they ever had houses on it, but it's just, it's vacant land right now.
We for this, Ms. Howard?
Of course.
Engineering, any concern?
No.
All right, thank you.
I've got a concern, Mr. Chairman. I wish they would submit stuff you could read. I'm having to go on my phone to be able to read the streets and everything. I'm talking about yours. This is going on on a lot of cases. Can y'all read that?
No, but it's just so big. I think that's what.
I will say, I did put this plat together. At the size and scale, it's kind of tough, and you have to make it readable.
I mean, how many acres is this? Yeah.
57.
Need to work on that prescription, Mr. Rumsey.
Listen, I keep moving up.
Yeah.
All right, anything else for the petitioner? Anyone here speak against against or for this? Okay, this time I'll close discussion. Commission, we have here S-59-24 Benjamin Barnes YMC, resurvey of Block 1 Carlton and unplatted land. 53 acres located on 3101 Martin Luther King. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Having a motion and second, Mr. Rumsey?
Yes.
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 Yes. All right, last item of the business.
All right, we do have one street vacation. This is V0124. It's to vacate a portion of Paul W. Bryant Drive between 6th Avenue and Hackberry Lane. This is in Council District 4. Here's the vicinity map. Highlighted in red, or bounded in red, is the portion of right-of-way they're requesting to vacate. Here is that exhibit. And department comments, there were no issues found.
Okay, do we have a petitioner? Mike. Okay, petitioner.
Good evening. I'm Luke Pate with Duncan Coker Associates, 302 Merchants Walk, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. This is part of a project that the university has ongoing right now, where they're converting the overhead power lines underground along Hatbury Lane. Today, the existing turn lane, if you're headed east on Paul Bryant, going to turn right, head south on Hatbury, it's a very awkward turn lane there. Yeah, and you can see from the photograph, it's about twice the width it needs to be. So what we're doing is reconstructing that turn lane, and then we'll construct an integral sidewalk along the new curb, and this would be the remnant piece of property there, left over after those improvements.
Like a big turning lane.
The dorm,
Any questions for the petitioner?
Oh, okay.
All right, commission, we have before us vacation V0-01-24, vacation of a portion of Paul Bryant Drive between 6th Avenue and Hackberry Lane.
Motion.
Do I have a motion? Motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. Start with Ms. Hornsby.
Yes?
Yes.
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 Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Oh, hang on. Further business.
Just really fast, our next special called framework meeting will be Wednesday, July 31st, going over the remainder of the map, or going over the map one final time. So if you're listening to this, please go on framework.tuscaloosa.com, take a look at your area, and make sure things look good.
My notes said we were supposed to follow the agenda. I didn't see that on the agenda.
That was a quick write-in.
We're adjourned. Thank you.